Hey guys, this is Rachel with Cypress Textiles, and today we're going to be making the Tokyo square from the 2020 Vibrant Vintage Crochet Along, or 2020 VVCAL. I'm going to start by making a slip knot and chaining 3. This is how all of our squares begin. Slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook. You can also chain 4 instead of 3 if it's easier for you, or you can do a magic ring, whatever you like. And then straight into the center of your chain, of your ring, you're going to make a single crochet. So I don't chain up for singles. So I went straight into that ring, pulled up my loop, and I'm making my single now. Now you're making a chain 1. So this is a beginning DC. This is the first DC of what will be a 4 DC popcorn. Okay, so in my pattern, this is called beginning 4 DC popcorn. And it starts with a beginning DC, 3 more double crochets, okay, release the loop from the hook, insert the hook front to back through the beginning DC here. If you go just through this part of the chain, you're gonna have a hole. So I go into this part as well of the chain. Make sure you grab both of those little bars. Put your loop back on the hook and pull it through to the front to close your beginning 4 DC popcorn. All right, so now we're gonna chain 5. And then we're gonna make a regular 4 DC popcorn. We don't need the beginning DC anymore because we're not at the beginning of the round. So just make 4 double crochet into your ring. All right, kind of squeeze everything over because this is going to be, you know, this on the right side here. So you're going to want to be able to fit 4 of these popcorns. So release the loop, insert the hook front to back through the first double crochet, put the loop on the hook and pull it through the front. And that's our repeat. So just chain 5 and make a 4 DC popcorn twice more until we're back to the beginning. Okay, so at the end of our round, just make sure you've got chain 5 and you're ready to join. My favorite way to join into a 4 DC popcorn is to go into this little part of the popcorn right there. That's my favorite place to join with the slip stitch. All right, so it's what I feel like makes the popcorns look all the same. Okay, so into this chain 5 space right here, we're gonna go straight into there, working a single crochet and a chain 1. And that is the first part of our 2 DC cluster, the very first one of the round. So in my pattern, this is called a beginning 2 DC cluster. Single crochet, chain 1, that's your beginning DC, and then make a full double crochet. And those 2 together are gonna stand in as your first 2 DC cluster. Then we're gonna chain 2. All right, and then we're gonna make another 2 DC cluster. Okay, chain 2, and that's just yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and draw the yarn through 2 loops. And repeat that same thing again. Draw the yarn through 2 loops. Now you've got 3 loops on your hook, so draw the yarn through all 3, and your 2 DC cluster is finished. Chain 2 and make 1 more into that chain 5 space. All right. So now we're ready. We've got that 1 corner finished. You're just going to chain 2 and work the same 4 2 DC clusters with chain 2 in between them into the next corner. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to let you guys work around the square in the same manner. All right, and if I can get it, 1 more. Okay, so now this is how your square is starting to look. So just finish that other half and then you're finished. Okay, so round 2 is complete. I'm gonna join with a slip stitch into my beginning 2 DC cluster. And how I do that is, normally if you're joining into a double crochet, you'd go into the top like this, but that's not how we're gonna do it since we're treating it as a cluster. We're gonna go through this front loop and then this next loop right here, and this is of our full double crochet. So we're just going to ignore the beginning DC. And you can see the loops that I've picked up there on that double crochet. So we're going to just slip stitch into that, making sure that the slip stitch lies loosely over, not too loose, but not too tight either. So now this one just looks like all of the other 2DC clusters, and that's our aim. So into this next chain space, we're gonna slip stitch into one chain and make a single crochet into that same chain space. And then we're gonna chain 2. And now into this corner chain space, we're gonna do just like this, 2DC clusters with chain 2 spaces in between. So I'm just gonna go ahead and work this corner real quick since you've already seen how it's done. 2, 3, and 4. All right. Okay, so once those are all worked up into that corner, we're going to chain 2, single crochet into the next chain space. Now we're going to chain 2 and we're going to skip this side chain 2 space and go with a single into the next one. So you've got 2 chain 2 spaces on top of each other now, and later we're going to work into those and treat them as one and make a popcorn around them. But for now, just leave that be. Chain 2, and now we're starting our repeat over, working these chain 2DC clusters, chain 2, 4 times into our next chain space. All right, so we're done with this round now, and I've done a slip stitch into the first single of the round, and this is how your round's gonna look. So now I'm going to make a slip stitch into 2 chains, our first 2 chains here. And we're basically traveling to our next chain space. So once you've skipped over this chain 2 space by making slip stitches into each of them, you can see how I've laid them flat over it, not tightening up too much on them, so it's just like a regular chain space. We're gonna work into our next chain space to begin our round with a beginning double crochet. So single crochet and chain 1, and then we'll work 2 more doubles into that same chain space. All right, so now we're ready to work our corner, which is just 3DC, chain 3, 3DC. Chain 3 and 3 doubles. All right, so I'm gonna back up and show you our corner real quick. Okay, that's how that looks. And then we're gonna make 3 doubles into the next chain space as well. All right, now we're gonna chain 3. And we're gonna work a popcorn into both of these chain 2 spaces, treating them as one. So where you're gonna put your hook when you yarn over for your first double crochet is into this chain space from 2 rounds below. All right, and then we're gonna just treat this as one and work 4 double crochet into that for our 4DC popcorn. Okay, so now we've got 4DC. Release the loop, insert the hook in the first one, and pull your loop to the front. Now we're gonna chain 3. Okay, and now we're ready to keep on going and make this same corner again. So skip this chain space, 3 double crochet into the next chain space, 3DC, chain 3, 3DC into our corner. And you can kind of see how this round is gonna play out. So after I make this corner, I'm gonna let you guys finish this round. All right. Okay, that's how our round is gonna look. And I'll be back when mine's complete. Alrighty, so my round is complete and I've made slip stitch into the first beginning DC of the round. So now I'm ready to make our second to last round. I'm gonna make a slip stitch into this next DC right here. Okay, and then into the next double crochet, I'm gonna work a beginning DC. So single, chain 1, and I'm gonna chain 1 again to be a chain 1 space. Then we're gonna skip a double and double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, then we're gonna chain 1, and into our corner space, we're gonna work DC, chain 3, DC. Okay, then chain 1, and we're gonna skip this first DC right here, double into the next double, chain 1, skip 1, double into the next double, chain 1, skip 1, same thing, double into the next double. So now we've got some skipped stitches there, like an eyelet round basically. Now chain 1 again, and now we're going to work into our chain space with a double crochet. Chain 1, work into our next chain space with the double crochet. Chain 1. So these have just about the same spacing as the eyelets, but we're working into chain spaces instead of into actual stitches. Okay, go ahead and work into your first double crochet there. Chain 1, skip 1. And again, chain 1, skip 1. And now we're back to our corner, chain 1, DC, chain 3, DC. Okay, so this is how our first side looks. And we're gonna work that way all the way around. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys the beginning of, well, the end of this round instead of just finishing it, because the first stitch here was slipped into after the joining stitch. So let me go ahead and just show you. I'm going to make my double crochet into that stitch for my last DC there. All right, and now I'm going to chain 1 and slip stitch into the top of my beginning DC. All right, and now our round is complete. So for our final round, it's super simple. We're just going to work single crochet into all of our spaces and our double crochets all the way around until you get to your corner, and then you're going to work 3 singles in the corner. Okay, so super simple. When I'm finished with that, I'll show you the completed square. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and joined into the first single crochet with a slip stitch, and I'm going to show you guys how I finish off my round. So I leave my slip stitch join nice and loose so it goes all the way over that single, so that way it blends in more with the other kind of V's at the top. And then I'm going to insert my hook from back to front through the stitch to the left of the joining stitch. Pull the yarn tail to the back. Okay, so now your slip stitch just acts as the top of that stitch that you joined into. So now we're going to work from back to front still through back loop only this time in the stitch to the right of the joining stitch. Okay, and pull the tail through to the back again. Now you've got your stitch joined into there. And now we're just going to bury our tail. So in each subsequent stitch, you're going to go back to front through back loop only and grab that tail and pull it to the back. Okay. No matter how you prefer to join, needle join, invisible join, whatever you do, you can always use this method of burying your tail. Just go back to front through back loop only and pull the tail to the back. Okay, and until your tail is all the way woven in, and you don't have to worry about this coming loose, and you can't even hardly see it once it's woven in. And then once you work around the square again to join, or whatever you're going to do to work into this round, your tail is going to be encased in there, and you don't have to worry at all. It'll be very secure. So this has been our Tokyo square from the 2020 VVCAL. I'm Rachel with Cypress Textiles. I've been using Shape Just Color Crafter yarn with a 4.25 millimeter hook. And if you're following along in the cal, I hope you're enjoying these squares, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye guys.